Trigger. The New York City Marathon, the 24th, is underway. Going over that bridge, by the way, is the steepest climb of the entire race. It's also a special experience in a number of ways. Why don't we watch right now and listen to the comments of some runners who have made this fantastic journey.
Well, the first thing on the bridge, the one part of your body that you're really connected to is your heart, because it's pounding. And you look around.
Has yet to develop. It's way back there from him. Larry Rawson, of course, Rod, is out there riding with the group. Bring us up to date, Larry.
Jim, right now behind the leader is about 27 athletes right now comprising what I consider to be, of course, the lead pack. They're about 150 yards behind. And some of the favorites are right up here, led by a man who's finished twice here recently, Andres Espinosa, wearing the number 2, running on the inside closest to the curb. Behind him, a man many people feel is the favorite, number 7, back there, Arturo Barrios. There you're taking a look at Espinosa. There is Barrios. And right beside him, off his left shoulder, number 1, Salvatore Garcia, a 2:09:16 marathoner here. There's a wind out here, which was not the case on 4th Avenue in Brooklyn. And now, if you notice, everybody is running Indian file as we approach the Hasidic neighborhoods here. So you get an example. Paul Pilkington, again, who is no doubt paid to try and tow everybody along at a steady, solid pace, seems to be doing a very good job. Andres Espinosa is running, wearing number 2 on his chest. Frank Bjorkli, number 31, just behind him, from Norway, wearing blue and white, has been running very comfortably, a 2:12 marathoner himself. The pack of this race, back in the lead pack, however, is Moses Tanui, number 4. And you've got also back there
many things you don't get in a small town in Iowa. I don't want to get letters from small towns in Iowa. They're wonderful, too.
There's a shot of Arturo Barrios, and of course, a lot of attention focused on him because this is, in a sense, his first marathon. He ran the Boston Marathon when he wasn't prepared in 1986 and ran 2:14. He's the former world record holder.
Daily by garbage scows, delivering the fresh trash to the local incinerator.
He is getting his head together and his life back together. He went down to La Paz, Bolivia, trained at 12,000 plus feet for the last 5 weeks, and said, I am fit and ready, and told. And now in the men's race, truly, it is underway for the title.
All right, when you have a chance, Marty, tell us about some of those problems.
It was supplied by all of the rest of the lead pack, and he has stayed about this same distance behind them for the first 15 miles of the race. Up front, it's a huge gaggle of runners as we approach the 59.
Serious business. Arturo Barrios is in that lead pack. Andres Espinosa is in about 3rd place right now. He's been 2nd the last 2 years, so we know he's for real. Lucas Swartboy, who has been the hot runner for the last 2 years, 2nd in the World Championships. We can just see him in there. It's good to see him up there. And this is number 1, Garcia, who was leading for a while and had broken from the pack, but now has come back in. He's wearing the gloves. So there's some really good stories in there. They're slowing up now. You can see them chopping.
And wait till they hit that wall of sound as a huge crowd on 1st Avenue sees the first runners.
Somebody's going to probably get excited and make a break there. But as you mentioned, there are a lot of Mexicans up there. Innocent Miranda, Garcia, Alejandro Cruz is not too far off the back of that pack. And on a hot day, the Mexicans have been known to run very well. I really on coldest part on your body. To some of the Mexicans, 65 degrees might not be that cold, although Garcia has been training at 12 to 14.
We have,
well, there's a shot of Moses Tanui.
Right.
He's a man like Arturo Barrios who comes into this race with great promise. It is his first marathon, but 2 years ago, in the World Championships, he was the gold medalist in the 10,000 meters. So at the shorter distances, he has impeccable credentials. He also has the world record for the half marathon now. What everybody thought with him would be that he would feel so good in the early miles that he would run too fast. He wouldn't be able to hold himself back, but he has. He stayed off the pace, so if he's going to do something, he's given himself.
On we go, and we'll be back. But back to the race and to Larry Ross and Garcia out in front again, Larry.
Jim, he is, and this is really interesting. There's tremendous rivalry between the countries of Kenya and Mexico as to who are the greatest distance runners in the world. Garcia has led the charge. Number 25 is up there as well. Right behind, and we're trailing them, is Luquet Swartboy, number 6, and number 7 is Arturo Barrios. So the whole pack is still together. These men are letting these guys surge and mark time. Swartboy and Barrios running very smart races here as we are now well up on the east side here, and it looks like Mardi Gras, Jim.
Well, you know, as they came into these crowds, Now, Masai ran the 1991 New York City Marathon, but he didn't finish.
That was it, though.
A few steps behind him, number 33 is Andrew Masai, and right behind Masai is number 25. Back there is Bob Kempen, and there you're looking at Espinoza, and they're all running well. I think that there is probably 8 people here with 5 miles left to go who could win this race. Perhaps 100 yards behind the leader is still Arturo Barrios and Luquet Swartboy from Namibia. Very interesting race up here. American Bob Kempen is still in it.
So an American still in it, Bob Kempen from Minnetonka, Minnesota. But they're not completely out of touch. Larry, you have something to say?
Now, of course, we're looking at that. He's only at mile 19. There's still 7 miles to go.
Yes, Larry. Yes.
Jim, Samuel Lay is running brilliantly here. The pace is a sub 5-minute mile pace all the way up to First Avenue here. Back and forth place. Probably a football pass.
This is his first marathon since he was 17th in the 92 Olympic Marathon in Barcelona. He's been in medical school, but for the past 12 weeks, he took time off and went out to Stanford to train with his old college coach, Vinny Lanana. So it's really paying off. There's a shot of him from the back.
Vermont Pure Natural Spring. Got to plug those guys. Because I ran here, Don, over the years, and we had nothing.
Bill Rogers, 4-time winner of the marathon, and sleazy water plugger here at the finish line of the New York City Marathon.
This is not a man that you want to see shoulder to shoulder with you. Second the last 2 years in a row. You can bank on his toughness, and Sammy's not going to let him take any kind of a psychological advantage over these last couple of miles. He's obviously committed to winning the race. The Joker up there.
Yeah, he's out of it now. Those of you who just run for fun, know that a 5-minute mile is pretty good stuff. Realize that the leaders here will run the equivalent of 26 5-minute miles in a row.
Kempen went over. Maybe that guy in the white shirt was running out to give Bob some water. Bob went over to the side to try and get some water and went
76. So what an achievement this would be. Already is, I think, for Bob Kempen. Yes.
Jim, at this pace, people can fall apart at microwave speed, but a man who has been gaining on the rest of the leaders that you've just been talking about is Arturo Barrios. He is about 250 yards behind with 5 miles to go. No one ran the last mile faster than he did. He has often said in certain races, he said, I am prepared to virtually die out here, and he is giving it that type of effort. He is gaining on everybody else. And stand by. We're going to have a great finish.
Okay.
Too ambitious.
Now Espinoza going out in front of Kempen again. The two testing each other. Kempen now drafting a little bit on Espinoza. That doesn't help much.
Well, I would love to know what Espinoza is thinking. You know, here's a guy, I've been second in this race 2 times. I've got this guy on my shoulder who I know I haven't seen before up here in the front or in the Olympics. What's he got? What's his speed like at the end of the race? But do I play it conservatively and just run my race, or I try and dust him? And where is Arturo?
Well, you know, Frank Shorter has said, I guess more than once, the man to fear in a marathon is the man you do not know. And he doesn't know Bob Kempen, and so he can't. And here is Espinoza of Mexico looking for his revenge. He's been second in this race the last 2 years. He's now moving out about 10 or 15 yards over Bob Kempen of the United States.
Well, here's a guy who did it all on his own. He was working in a steel mill in Mexico and took a bus from Monterrey, Mexico to Dallas and ran the Dallas White Rock Marathon, won it in 2:16, and that was how he got, is where he's had his best races. For instance, in Boston last April, he was only 13th. So this is the one he focuses on.
He's focused very sharply.
At Stanford, I hope he was running a lot of his workouts in the hills of Palo Alto there, because that's going to be a factor right now.
Okay, Central Park, the scene of strollers most times and joggers on a Sunday afternoon. It is, in fact, almost 1:45 in the afternoon here in New York at the moment.
You know, somebody asked me before the race, don't you think Espinoza will win it? He was second the last 2 years in a row. Doesn't it usually work that way? A guy gets third, second, or first? I said, well, it works that way in fairy tales, but I also believe that a guy gets second all the time will probably continue getting second for the rest of his life, unless he makes some changes in and out that when you get past 20 miles, it's different. He said he only ran at the maximum an hour and 45 minutes. I don't think he was telling the entire truth. I think he threw in some long runs, but if he didn't, he's paying for it right now.
See, laboring, little fella, 5 feet 1 inch tall. But the leader, looking strong, Andres Espinoza of Mexico.
Well, that is pretty graphic. When you jump from third and fourth place to first place, it does not look like he's going to have any problems, does it?
Well, not from the contrasting pictures of the athletes. You're right.
You know, one of the things he's not doing, and I noticed this 3-4 years ago in the San Francisco Marathon, when he is tired, one of his arms starts to flap out, and that's not happening today.
There's Barrios passing Sammy Lelai, moving up into third place in the race.
He didn't start it just a little bit earlier.
And we remind you that Uda Pip is in the top 3. Espinoza looking a little more strained now.
Well, he's starting to use his arms a little bit more, but 4:57's not too bad for that last mile. Behind him by about 55 seconds is Arturo Barrios, and he is closing, but he's running out of time. And in between the two of them, of course, is Bob Kempinen, and the main question is, will he hold on to second place?
Second place would be the best American finish since Salazar won it 11 years ago.
Being able to see Espinoza, there's so many turns in the road here as we begin to exit Central Park. And I have to think of one other thing that might go through his mind as a medical student, where money can come in handy for what you're doing. As a top American finisher, if he wins this race, he makes $120,000. If he takes second, he gets a minimum of 15. Big difference, isn't it?
No question about it. Right now, however, I think the object, as with all marathoners, is to finish the race and finish it as well as you can, of course. The police officers, the motorcycle policemen, and the leader. 2:07:43 you saw at this point. There won't be any record today, not in these temperatures.
Emblem off of his VW and replaced it with a Mercedes emblem.
Okay, well, here he comes now, this father of 2, and his wife is also pregnant again right now. You spoke about his humble origins. Today, of course, he does much better, and in a few moments he'll be much richer again. But he just moved into a new house about a year ago in this suburb called Querétaro.
And he's going to get under that, so he got just about everything he wanted here.
With the temperature pushing 70 degrees, quite remarkable. There's the finish line at the bottom of your screen. Listen to the crowd now. For Andres Espinoza, victory, redemption, $20,000, and a Mercedes, a real one, not just the emblem.
And a first. Collapse over the finish line. Bob, I think, is going to be a hurting dude. His thighs are shot right now.
27 years old, on his way to helping a lot of people when he gets his medical degree. Right now, helping himself to second. 2:11:02, that's not bad today.
That beats his personal best by about a minute.
Arturo Barrios, who was ready for a big effort, has made it and will finish third.
Fourth place now from Portugal,
And the crowd.
Well, Arturo did improve on his time from Boston by 2 minutes, but that's not what he wanted. He said, if I could run a 2:08 or win the race, I'd rather win the race.
2:12:20 it looked like for him. But it's the first time